welcome back to the Fire Burns Within channel. An anniversary review, re-rank, re-listen, well, listen for the first time video. This is Anvil's Hard and Heavy album. Anvil is a band that's sort of got cult status nowadays since that infamous documentary. They're sort of seen as some kind of they were sort of seen as some kind of comedy has-been band, and then that documentary came along and they were seen as some kind of all-conquering, all-returning heroes with a second career. So there you go. And I even saw them live as well a couple of times after that documentary, but I didn't really know the band at all beforehand. I hadn't even heard a single song of Anvil, or not. I might have heard a few songs, but not really become a fan or anything. Anyway, this album, Hard and Heavy, is 40 years old soon. It was released 25th May 1981. Wow. I was reading up on this album. Apparently it was released under the name Lips, the same album, but I don't know if it didn't have success or anything, or you know, they thought they could do a better job releasing it under the Anvil name, or they formed Anvil. I don't know the backstory. All I know is that it was released under the name Lips, which is of course the singer's nickname. Steve Kudlow, I think his name is. So this album is 40 years old. So I listened to it again. Well, I say again. I keep saying again. I listened to it for the first time after 40 years. I've literally never heard a single note from this album. It didn't register on my radar. You know, obviously not at the time, but you know, after I got into metal and rock and started listening to, maybe just listening to a little bit of Anvil here and there, not much, like I said, because I'm not really a huge fan. But this album never featured on any delving into the past of metal and rock that I experienced. But I recently saw that it's turning 40. So I thought this is an interesting exercise. Let me listen to each of these tracks on this album and see how it goes. How kind has 40 years been to this album? So I listened all the tracks. There's 10 tracks all told. I think, is there? Yeah, I think so. 10 or 9 tracks, can't see. 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 tracks. Yeah. Okay. Track 1 is called School Love. Very raw sounding. It really does sound like 1981. Even quite raw for 81. I'm sure there were better sounding productions than this in 81. 1980, 81. I mean, I remember Sabbath's Heaven and Hell. That's got quite a nice production compared to this. The drumming, very cool on School Love. Not a bad opener, but I don't know, a little bit cheesy. The lyrics on the song and throughout the album are questionable, to say the least. I mean, I don't know, Lips, he was a very horny young man. All the songs are about sex and relationships and chasing girls and etc. You know, I guess it was quite normal for the early 80s you know, rock scene. But the song School Love, it didn't float my boat. It's okay. The drumming was the best part. Rob Reiner, 6 out of 10 for that track. Track 2 was called AC/DC. I'm wearing the AC/DC shirt today. Yes. This is, well, I guess you could call it a tribute to the band themselves. Probably sounds a bit like it as well. It's got the AC/DC shuffling riffs, the swaggering riffs, cool drumming again. Quite a fun track, this one. Like that spaced out, echoey section in the middle. Like this one definitely much better than School Love. 7.5 out of 10 for the track AC/DC. Track 3 is At the Apartment. This is a slow tempo song. Didn't really like this tune at all. It's not my cuppa. It's a bit of a dirge. I don't know. The lyrics again are, questionable, shagging lyrics, like trying to get a girl to your apartment, etc. This one reminds me of a little bit of very old ZZ Top, like 70s ZZ Top or something like that. I mean, it's not really my cup of tea, but I don't know, if you like your blues rock or slow rock or whatever stuff like that, you might get into it. I really didn't like this tune. 5 out of 10. Track 4 is I Want You Both, in brackets, with me. A little bit more upbeat. Again, no great shakes this song. It's sort of bluesy rock and roll sounding. Couldn't get along with this song again. Just 5.5 out of 10 for this very dated sounding old school rock and roll song. Next track is called Bedroom Game. Finally they upped their game a little bit, so to speak. All lyrics again about chasing girls, shagging, etc. Lips. He was a horny young man, I guess, at this point. He couldn't write about anything else other than chasing girls. A little bit better, still not great at all, this track. Guitar work is at least good, but it's a little bit monotonous. It's like the same riff pretty much throughout the song. Again, the raw sound doesn't help, but it's not terrible. 6.5 out of 10 for that track. Okay, we go to side 2. We're in vinyl territory, don't forget, so we got sides. Next song, the first of side 2, is called Ooh Baby. Again, the lyrics, oh god. Starts off with a cool riff. This one reminds me a little bit of Judas Priest. It's got sort of similar flavors to what Priest was doing at the time, I would say. Not vocally. The vocalists on this album are, I'm not sure. I've read that some of the singing is not lips, and it sounds like it as well. I'm not sure. Some of the song sounds like a much sweeter sounding voice, quite a girly sounding male. He's a male, but he doesn't sound sort of like as raw as Lips does. So I think there might be another singer on some of these as well. That makes the song sound quite glammy, so it also takes away from the, I don't know, it just makes it sound too sweet sounding and too sugary, if you like. This one is very it's an okay song, Ooh Baby, but not lyrically, but it's an okay song overall. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Track 2 is Painted Black, cover of the Rolling Stones classic. This is actually awesome. This is like a galloping rock cover. I like the way they galloped up that riff to make it sort of more more heavy metal style. This is a real good job they done on this. I like this version. Probably, I don't know, I mean, I'm not a Rolling Stones fan, but I do like the Painted Black original from Stones, but I think I might like this one even more. I really like this cover, so 8 out of 10 for that one. Track 3 is called Oh Jane. The sound is quite heavy on this one. This is probably, one of the heavier moments on the album. It's got a slow, heavy riff, quite a bit like Black Sabbath. I don't know, this one the vocals might not be lips because they sound far too sugary and sweet sounding. Almost like a power pop tune, the way the vocals sound. The riff is cool though, the solo is quite cool, so the song I'm sort of mixed on, but I gave it a 7 out of 10, being very generous. Track 4 is Hot Child. There's some great riffs on this one. I really enjoyed the riffing. Cool drums again. Rob Reiner, he's very good on the drums. Lots of fills. Best riffs throughout the album are here, I think. This song strongly reminds me of UFO's Rock Bottom, if you know that classic sort of late 70s, say early metal or heavy rock tune. I really like Hot Child. 8 out of 10 for Hot Child. And the last track of the album is called Bondage. Again, lyrics questionable. A decent riff, lots of drum fills from Rob Reiner, nice groove. Again, it reminds me of UFO. Maybe they were heavily influenced by UFO. Not a bad closer, this one, Bondage. Still sounds very dated. The sound, like, I know it sounds classic and this is like, you have to accept this kind of sound, but I don't know, it's hard to listen to. The 40 years that have passed haven't been that kind, but it's not a bad closer, so 7.5 out of 10. Okay, my final thoughts on this 40-year anniversary of the Hard and Heavy album is that it sounds like a very dated album. I guess for the time that it was released, I mean, it would have been sort of quite a classic sounding album, quite a fresh sounding album. Maybe at that time, although it doesn't sound fresh now. It's got its moments. The production is very raw. Even for 81, it's quite a poor and raw production. The lyrics quite dodgy. Guitar work is good. Rob Reiner, he's very good on drums. He's probably the star man on this album. Very cool drumming, lots of fills, lots of speed, lots of little fills. Very, very, good drumming, solid drumming. Like I said, plenty of other albums that in this time that were released in time probably had better sound than this one. Maybe their budget was a bit smaller. So my full rating for this album, based on my the averaging out of my ratings, is 6.85 out of 10. But we can round that down to a 6.5 out of 10. Or possibly, if that could be slightly generous, so I could probably take it down to even a 6, but 6.5 is just about fair enough. I mean, it's a good rock and roll styled hard rock album, but it's got a lot of flaws. 40 years has passed since it's released. Is it a classic of the rock genre? Definitely not. But it will have its fans. Like, it's got its charm. This is of the time. It's a reflection of Anvil's very early years. But like I said, time has not been the best friend of this album. There are hints of the quality that the band would show on maybe later releases, but as it stands, 40 years have passed, and Hard and Heavy is just an okay album with a lot of flaws. Okay, stay tuned.